Hello, KTM and motorcycle lovers. This is Don here. I just want to do a review on this 2024 990 I bought in March 7th of this year, 2025, and now it is August 6th. So, had it for a few months now, and I have 3,700 miles on it now. So it's been a great bike. I really love it. I've ridden about 300,000 miles and had motorcycles, on the road every year since I was 16, and I'm getting to be an old man now. So I also have this Super Duke GT. I bought that about 3 years ago. Put 14,000 on that. In the last 20 years, I had 2000 CBR 929. I put 50,000 miles on that. I had a 2007 Tuono. I put 36,000 on that, and then I bought an 18 Tuono and put about 14,000 on that, and then I bought this. I sold that to a friend of mine and bought this 990. So I live out here in the country. It's northern Baltimore County, about 10 minutes from the Pennsylvania line. So it's great motorcycle roads out here, and I wanted more of a backroads bike, something where the suspension would work at lower speeds. Suspension on this bike's good. It works at about 50 miles, 50 at lower speeds. You can feel the suspension working. On my other fast bikes, the GT is great, the Super Duke GT, but the 18 Tuono was probably the worst. I tried to soften up the suspension. I set the sag on it, and tried to soften it up, backed everything off, and still you just felt every bump in the road on that thing. So, like I say, I live out here in the country with back roads, so I just thought I'd try this 990, and really, it's a great bike. I really love it. It's got good headlights. Like I say, my last both Tuonos and the 929 headlights weren't very good at night because they had the fixed fairing, and when you go around a turn, you couldn't see where you were going. So on this 990, the headlight turns with the steering, and so that helps, shows where you're going. It's got these little small LED bulbs, but they really spray the light around. And the high beam at night, it actually sprays the light around. It's really bright and works really well. So during the day, if it's bright out, I usually use the high beam. So when the high beam is on, the high and low beams are on, and all this daylight running light is on, and it's very bright also. So it gives a big area, so that shouldn't, people should be able to see you. So this bike it looks different than the 2024s they offered, the black one and the orange one. This one I was going to buy the black one. I showed my wife a picture, and a picture also showed an orange one. She said, "Oh, I like the orange." So when I went to buy it, I was going to buy the black, and then I knew she liked the orange, and I thought, well, try an orange. Then I got it. It was just too much orange, and plus the orange wheels. I would clean the wheels, ride 20 miles, and even the front wheel, it would start having black streaks on it, and so it was just hard to keep the orange clean, and even the tank, the orange tank, and the orange fairings, I just felt like it was too much orange. So I bought bearings and for the wheels, and I took the wheels off and took them and had them powder coated gloss black, and then this other section here on the fairing and the gas tank, that is a wrap, and that turned out very well. I did the side panels, but I tried doing the tank a couple times, and I couldn't do the tank. It's just too curvy. So a friend of mine I worked with years ago has a wrap shop now, so I took it to him, and they did it in about 15 minutes. It's just, if you know what you're doing. So this bike does have a metal gas tank, which I think is good. One time I had a flat on my 929. It had a metal gas tank, so I sat up on it. It was a rear flat. On motorcycles, you generally get a flat that's on the rear. So I sat up on the gas tank and rode it home, like no problem. Then my '07 Toronto had a rear flat, and it had a plastic gas tank, and you could just, while you're riding, you could squeeze your knees on the tank and feel it flexing. And so I didn't want to sit on the gas tank that one ride it home. So I, called a friend, went and got a trailer, and hauled it home that way. So let's see here. So one thing I like is the flashers work even when the bike is turned off. So I like that because when it's really hot out, I pull up to a traffic light. If I know the light's going to be a couple of minutes or I'm a few cars back, I just turn the engine off. And when you do turn the key on, it starts up immediately. You can turn the key and hit the starter button, it starts right up. And also, if you turn the key off and push the flasher button, it will turn the flashers on. So if you're sitting there with the key off and you see a car coming up on you, you can turn the flashers on, and that'll warn the car, help keep the car from bumping into you or anything. This bike does cool itself very well. It has it looks like a 195 or a 200 thermostat. My last three bikes, they were about 175. So I'm not sure why they raised the temp on this, but it does cool itself. I let it sit and warm up. It was 95 degrees, and I let it sit and idle. I'd been riding it a couple of hours. I let it sit and idle, and the temp, like I say, it always runs at 200, but it went up to 220. The fan was blowing, all the hot air out, so it never went above 220. And I let it sit there about, 10 minutes, and it never went above 220. So it does cool. And then I thought, how long will it take to ride it for it to cool down? I thought it might be several miles, because that's the way my previous bikes were. But I got on, started riding, and it only took about a third of a mile, maybe half of a mile at 35 miles an hour. And it dropped 20 degrees back down to 200. So it's one of the things KTM said they did. They improved the cooling, and yeah, I believe they did, because it really cooled down. Like I say, my last three bikes wouldn't have done that. The brakes, the magazine articles, the reviews, they say the brakes, they could be better, but they're adequate. And you just ride the bike, you just ride it for a half hour, and you're used to, you're used to the brakes. So the brakes are adequate. They're fine. I guess you could change the calipers, master cylinder, make it better, but they seem fine to me. I don't have any problem with them, so I'm not going to upgrade anything there. I did put this is a Scorpion muffler on here. The stock exhaust was so quiet, even when you're accelerating, it was just, you couldn't hear the exhaust at all. You just heard the engine getting louder. So, of course, you got the downpipes in the front. Right here's the catalytic converter. It's only so long. And then there's a joint right here. It goes into this box right here that comes up behind the engine. And if you take the muffler off at this joint right here, there's no back pressure. It is really loud. But then with the stock muffler on, and even with this Scorpion, it really quiets it down. With this box behind the engine, I thought it might really heat up the shock, but I can ride it, on a 90-degree day for hours and get off and touch the shock. The shock is warm but not hot, so it doesn't heat up the shock, which I like that. The Scorpion muffler, it did have a red and white sticker on it here. I took that off. I just like the clean look. And I took out the dB killer. With the dB killer in, it was a little louder than stock, but not much. With the dB killer out, it sounds good. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it does sound good. So yeah, that's fine. One of the reviewers said this bike does vibrate at higher RPMs. Well, let me say first that this thing has really good mid-range, just like my other motorcycles at 4,500, 5, 6, 7. This thing really moves. At wet, it's only 400 pounds or maybe a few pounds more depending on what you read. But it really accelerates really well. I thought the top speed on it was going to be about 125 in 6th gear, but I hadn't really taken it over 80 or 90. And so the other day I was traveling out on the interstate, so I ran it up in sixth gear. I ran it up to 8,000 RPMs. It was 128 miles an hour. So, red line's at 10. So I don't know, it could go 145 maybe, 150. I'm not sure, 140, 150. And it does vibrate more when you get up, 7,500, 8,000. It does vibrate more, but it's what it's designed to go up to 10,000. So it doesn't seem to be a problem. I was running to 8,000 and, it felt fine. But it does, when you're in the mid-range, which is mostly where you would operate, even on a exhilarating ride, it's, you're just going to be 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. And it's nice and smooth in there. I mean, it's a twin. It has a balance shaft. It does vibrate a little, but it's not bad. The gearing on it, like I said, I thought it was going to redline in 6 at 125 because the gearing in the lower gears is short. Second gear on this bike is like my last 3 bikes was in first gear. Second gear, you whack the throttle open, you're not keeping it on the ground, period. It's like first gear in any other bike. So the wheelies on this are third gear, and it, like I say, it has really good mid-range. Just get it about 60 miles an hour. That's about 5,500 RPMs in third gear. And I don't clutch it. I don't gear lash it, let off the gas and crack it open again. I just get it where it's barely pulling and just crack it open and pull on the handlebars, and it comes right up in third gear. So the wheelies on this bike are third and fourth gear. When I bought it, I did get the tech package, and the shifter, the speed shifter works great. I've been shifting gears with clutch for so long that I just always use the clutch, but on my wheelies, third to fourth, it works great. I do use it for that. They do offer a tire pressure monitoring. You do have to buy the tire pressure sensors and have those installed, and also the control unit. The control unit goes on the left side under this panel right here, down below the tank. And I did do that, and also I bought the heated grips when I bought the bike. So for the heated grips and the tire pressure monitoring, they do have to use their computer tablet or whatever, attach it to the bike, turn the stuff on. So it does, it just depends on how bad. I did it all at one time, so I think I saved some money there. Okay, let's see what else here. Like I say, the weight, 400 pounds. I really like that. Even just pushing it around in the garage and out in the turns, just trying to stop 400 pounds. My Super Duke GT to 16, it weighs about 500 pounds, and this 990 is 400 pounds. So yeah, it just steers really quick. The handling is great. It steers quick. It gives you confidence in the turns. And, if you're trying to stop, 100 pounds less, then that's really good. The seating position, it's actually a very, very comfortable bike. I let one of my friends ride it. He commented, "Man, I could ride this thing all day." It's very, very similar to the KTM GT, which is a Grand Touring, sport touring bike. I put a metal bar across the seat, and I laid this metal bar across the seat, and where I'd be sitting. I had both bikes on the stand, so they were totally vertical. I measured down to the pegs. The 990 actually has an inch more leg room, and feels like the handlebars are about exactly identical. And I measured, and they were within an inch. When I measured the 990, the handlebars measured like an inch more forward. But when you ride it and ride both bikes like back to back, the GT feels like the bars are more forward than the 990. But you have no weight on your hands on either bike. There's no weight on your hands. You're comfortable, and the seats, both bikes, the seats are about equal. So it's a really nice, comfortable bike. I'm really happy with it. It's headlight. All right, well, I think that's about it. Oh, the gas mileage. Let me cover that. Depending on what you read, KTM says 50 miles or 60 miles. When I was breaking it in, I talked to everybody at the dealership, and then I even called other dealerships to ask them about breaking it in, because the reason I did that was back in the mid 2000s, some of the CBR 600s would really smoke. I mean, just blew smoke out the back. And so I knew the general manager at a Honda dealer, and he said the people that broke the CBRs in hard, they didn't smoke, and broke them in easy, they did smoke. So, I was wondering how to break it in. So I even called a couple other dealers, talked to other mechanics, and everybody said break it in easy. So I did. I really puttered around on it. The owner's manual said don't take it over 6,000 in the first 600 miles. But every time I would take it above 5, in the display, the tach would turn red. So I basically, seemed like they didn't want to take it over 5,000. So I didn't till about 350 miles. And then I started taking it a little bit above. And like I say, I'm out here on the country road. So when I was breaking it in, instead of using the brakes, I would engine brake it. That put different stresses on the engine. And I really babied it for about 350 miles. Then I started letting it pull a little more, and taking it a little over 5. I did that up till over 600 miles, and then I started running a little harder, and didn't really run it hard at all until up around 1,000 miles, and then I still wasn't taking it over like 7,000, 7,500 until just the other day. It's got 3,700 on it now, and I did, like I say, I ran it up to 8,000 RPMs in 6th gear, and that read at 128 miles an hour. So, but yeah, I hardly ever go over 80, 90. Like I say, I just like the back roads. So anyway, back to the gas mileage. When I was breaking it in, I was getting right around 50. And now it's broken in. I'm riding it, more for exhilarating rides and going out with the guys and riding some wheelies, and gets 40 to 49.2, 49.5. Doesn't seem to matter how I ride it. It just gets, in the 49s there. One day I did just putt around on it for a couple hours. It did get like 53. So, out on the highway, it like 60 miles an hour, you might get 55, 60 miles per gallon. All right, I think that's about it. Like I say, I'm really happy. I really love the way it handles. It is more of a backroads bike. It feels great in the turns. It, turns easy, gives you confidence. So, I think that's about it. So anybody interested, I do recommend this bike. I'm real happy I bought it. I'm real happy with the bike. All right, bye for now.